Hey, so what are we working on this week?
We're going to be dropping in some mud today. Not just one, but two.
All right, this weekend we got the Camaro in the big shop on the lift, and we got our motor all ready to go. Got the adapter motor mounts and all the accessory kit on. We've got our 6L80 all ready to go in. Got torque converter bolts and whatnot. And we got this stainless steel fuel tank with the in-tank sending unit and fuel pump. We're gonna try to get that plumbed in. Got the gas tank straps, and over here we got our solenoid wire. Got to extend it and get that all the right length and all that good stuff. Of course, we got the relays in here for the fans and the horns and all that good stuff. Down here we got the mega fuse, and I've already got one end made up on the alternator cable. So once we get the right length on that, we can get that hooked up, and hopefully we'll be able to get everything in there. I've already fabricated a cross member, and we've got our transmission yoke somewhere around here. We're trying to find a drive shaft that has good ends on it so we can get it cut down and balanced. And we'll mount our shifter in there and all that good stuff. Once that's all done, we're gonna put the intake and exhaust manifolds on and look at what kind of exhaust we can get up in there and make it sound good. So we'll see how much I get done this weekend. So here we go. got the motor and trans in. Now, one thing I was concerned about is this header over here. I had to modify this tube and bring it back in closer, and sure enough, it's gonna fit. It's gonna clear our steering column. Another thing I was a little concerned about is where our fitting goes, right here. And the way the motor sets is slightly tilted back, it's just gonna clear this pulley for a high pressure hose. The return hose will go up here and hook right into the reservoir. So that's gonna work. And we've got the trans in, and gotta still hook up the torque converter bolts, run some transcooler lines. Torque converter bolts go up in there. But while I got it on the lift, I want to go ahead and get this fuel tank in there and start running some fuel lines up and do a little wiring. It's got the plug that we plug into and wire into for a sending unit fuel pump. It's got its own pressure regulator in there, and it should pump the right amount of PSI for our LS motor. And this is a really nice tank that I got for it's stainless steel because I hate rust. So that's going to work out pretty nice. And while I got on the lift, I'm going to go ahead and get that fuel tank in there. So once it's back off the lift, then we can work on hooking up the wiring. I'm going to plug in a couple of the wires that go down below, crankshaft position sensor and whatnot, but we can hook up all the other stuff up above once it's back off the lift and in the little shop. So here we go. We're going to put this fuel tank in.
Enough of all this Camaro stuff. Let's get started on my truck. Hey guys, today we're going to be installing my motor. It's going to be kind of just a mock-up so I can get clearance with the fenders and the headers, and we're going to be doing some wiring, so I want to get the lengths of my wires and everything, so it's just a mock-up for now. I got my assistant here, Anne-Marie, to help me. The good thing, you know, with gas prices being through the roof, she takes payment in gummy bears, so I'm good there. So let's get started.
He's magic too. Pick up that washer? Little fingers. Okay. There we go. Alright. Cool. Alright. Yeah. Yeah.
Got that one on bone.
Bigger or smaller?
Small. You want to take this one off? You can take this one off. Got it.
Okay.
So then you're going to come out like that. Just
Okay.
the other one.
Alright, kick it that way. Behind us? Okay. Now we'll see if we're in the right holes. Kick it out a little bit more. I think we need to get some. Alright. Need to go to the back.
About right there.
Better bolts?
Yeah. There's going to be one washer, right? Or two?
Yeah, I think one.
Just have it.
We might need to leave these holes out. Can't see it.
It goes right in.
hole. It needs to be down there. Let's see. Yeah. Should be setting down all the way against this. Let's see if it does that one as well. Do you need to go back?
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me try sticking something up in there and see. See where you can fall apart. I think this side's lined up. Yeah, try this one. I bet we're gonna have to ream those holes out just a little bit. Yeah, let's, why don't we swap those out a little bit. Okay, what are you doing today?
We did a mock-up of the motor and transmission, but it looks like our adapter bracket was in the wrong position. They're adjustable, so when we got it all in, the oil pan is hitting the subframe. So we're gonna take the motor back out, adjust this bracket. It gives us about 2 inch more. It should clear the frame after we get done with that.
Okay, cool.
Well, we went ahead and pulled the motor back out, and we got these motor mounts adjusted to where it shifted to where the motor's further back. So now you can see the oil pan is clearing. And then I got this cross member put in. The oil pan is clearing from the frame now. And then I installed this cross member here to hold the transmission up. I've got a little piece of aluminum, made a little spacer so that way the transmission is level and the drive shaft will fit through the hole. So everything's all mounted up and secure now.
the intake bolted on, and I think it looks pretty cool. Starting to look like a regular hot rod now. We've got throttle body ready to go on, and I got these AC Delco coil packs off of eBay Motors for a pretty good price, a set of 8, and they will go mounted right here. I think it'll look pretty snazzy on these valve covers. And I've got my wiring harness kind of modified so they'll plug into each individual coil pack. And once everything is working, and get it all loomed up and make it look pretty. And gotta run over to the auto parts store and get my mass airflow sensor. This here is where the throttle body plugs in. And of course, get all our coil packs hooked up, get the fuel pump wire hooked up, and after a little while, I think we can start to think about cranking it up. But we gotta get a little bit of exhaust and run some transcooler lines, hook up, find the right hoses. It's got to curve around, go down here, and this one's got to curve around and come over here. But once we get all that hooked up, we got the fans wired in, and crank it up, kind of break in the motor and see what it sounds like. Well, in the middle of recording that little segment, it said camera too hot, and it just shut down. Well, it's July, and it ain't lying. It is hot. But, like I was saying earlier, there she sits, nestled between the fenders, and LS 6-liter, and we're getting really close to firing it up. So, stay tuned. We'll be doing a video of cranking this thing up here in the near future. Got our drive shaft in up in here, so that's done. Got our transcooler lines hooked up, and just gotta hook up some little routing pieces to hold it in place, and got the fuel fitting. Just gonna connect to this right here, where I've got it temporary, just tubing and hose. Now when I go back for the final, when we put the car together after it's painted, I'm gonna go with AN hose going up to that. Got my fuel pump wired in. It's an in-tank fuel pump, and it's got a internal pressure regulator, and I showed in some other videos, got a stainless steel tank, so that ain't gonna rust. And I'm in the process of getting the exhaust done, and that'll be another video. But we're getting a couple steps closer to starting it up. got to get a cold air intake to come down over here, and that's actually too close to the intake. It'll put off a little too much heat for the intake air temperature sensor. But I'm also working on getting my AC hoses hooked up and routed so that once it's all together, we don't have to make any more holes like that, and we'll get everything ready to crank up, and that way we can make sure everything's going to function before we put it together for the last time. I'm going to have to modify this inner fender to clear my lines, but once that's done, we'll get it smoothed out and looking good. But I got to get my fuel line hooked up, put some gas in there, maybe a little more tranny fluid, and I think we'll be really close to getting this started up. I got my upper radiator hose. I found one that had just the right curves up here on the upper and down here on the lower. Comes off here, goes down in here, and then of course, if you look at some of the other videos, I got my cooling fans wired up and the relays so that they'll turn on when we reach temperature.
Now that we've got my motor installed, we're gonna get the headers put on, the wiring harness, the throttle body, and all the accessories